we have a really wonderful set of guests with us today. Terry, we'll start with you. You grew up in a very ethnically diverse family. I'd like you to tell us about the diversity that you experienced in your family that really made a difference for you.
Well, my grandmother was half Russian and half Japanese. I had an aunt that married a black man in 1939. She was married to him for 50 years. I have an aunt that was married to a Filipino man and back in the late 1920s. And I had an aunt that was married to a Japanese man that was 20 years younger than her. And this was in maybe the late 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So I came from a really diverse family. I have only one child. My son is married to an Italian English woman from New York, and I have two nieces and a nephew. They're married to Caucasians, all of them, and so I've come from that background of just a very diverse family. My grandparents, and my parents were really strong Christians. We went into camp and when I was 7, and I know that coming out of camp, there was a lot of prejudice. You know, we couldn't live a lot of places. They wouldn't rent to you because you were Japanese. And also, so we had to live in a ghetto. And that was the first time that we've ever lived in an area like that. That was really very, very, different from what we're used to. But because my family was very close and tight-knit and, a very, very strong Christian, that I felt fine about it. And when my parents were Seventh-day Adventists, so of course we were also very different in that respect as well. When I went away to nursing in Chicago, I was the only Asian in that school, but I never really felt any differently from anybody else. And I think that I didn't feel any different from anybody else. And they treated me very nicely. When I went to the military and I went to OCS, I was the only Asian in that group. And I felt fine, but I was treated very nicely. And everywhere I worked, I was about the only Asian, but I didn't feel any differently from anybody else. I just saw somebody as not whether or black, white, or yellow, or whatever. I just saw them as a person, just like me. So I don't know. And then being in nursing, I felt that, when you're a patient there, you're like anybody else. And when you're at the very end, you have the same fears and the same concern as everybody else. So I felt like everybody, to me, was the same.